Hey folks, welcome to your weekly video. So let's take a look at week 5. Can't believe it's week 5 already. And last week we worked on paragraphs and we looked at different types of claims. So this week we're sort of bringing it all together in our first draft of our essay on music therapy. So the draft is due this Sunday, and you'll also peer review at least 2 colleagues' drafts in the discussion. So you'll post your paper twice. You'll post it to the assignment box where I'll give you feedback, and then you'll post it to the discussion where we'll give ourselves feedback as a class. So, right, if you have any questions about what this essay is asking us to do, right, take a look at the purpose and the skills, 4 to 5 pages, MLA or APA format. I'll get to that in a second. You decide. I'll just say this: APA is more widely used. APA is used in social sciences, religion, philosophy, anthropology. It's used across all social sciences, whereas MLA is really only used in English classes. So, if you haven't learned APA, this is a great time. You're not going to be dinged for making a mistake, right? This is a self-assessment grading system. So I want you to try and learn new things, right? I want you to push yourself. You're not going to be dinged for trying something new and making a mistake. You're supposed to make mistakes. That's how you learn. So I would say, yeah, why not try APA for this paper if you haven't used APA? So I'll look at that in a moment or two. Okay, so just go through what you need for this paper, 4 to 5 pages. You have to use evidence from a Google Scholar article. If you don't like our hip hop therapy article, right, that's from Google Scholar, then you need to find another credible, authoritative, reliable article, right? So it has to be, right, it has to pass the CRAP test that we looked at a few weeks ago, right? Is it credible? What's current, reliable, authoritative? The purpose is to educate. So you need to use evidence from a song and from an article that is credible. Okay, and again, you are making an original argument here, right? We're not summarizing what music therapy is. We're not arguing, is music therapy effective? Is it not effective, right? The research is in, there's a consensus. It is mostly effective, okay? So it's not a valid argument to say it's not effective or it is effective. We know that's known, that's proven, that's done. So your job is to say something new on this topic, right? Can you argue for a new artist to use for music therapy, a new genre, a new style that's never been considered for music therapy? Trust me, like grunge and metal have never been argued for use in music therapy, right? It's like, so think of all the styles out there, right? Can you add something new to this conversation, right? It's usually sort of classical music and hip hop. Those are the main musical styles that are considered for music therapy. Okay, so take a look at this description, ways to say something new, ways to add your voice. Okay, so that is this week. Upload that draft by Sunday, and then upload it again to the discussion, and we'll peer review each other through the discussion board. Okay, and you also have a mid-grade assessment due, right? This is an alternative grading class, okay? So what does that mean? Well, this is what it starts to look like. So I want you to start assessing the work you've done in the last 5 weeks. I want you to write me a short letter, right? This is 1 or 2 paragraphs where you just start reflecting on your learning, the work that you've done, okay? I want you to quote from any of the discussions or any of your essays so far, any of the work that you've done so far, right? To demonstrate your learning, right? Be like, oh, look, I learned how to write a new type of claim, or I learned how to use APA, or I learned how to, in the scholarship essay, really hit my audience, right? Who's the foundation reader, so I had to be really formal, right? Whatever you learned, tell us in this letter, right? This is your place to reflect on what did you learn, right? What risks did you take? What did you learn? So that's essentially this letter. And, I ask you, what grade would you give yourself for the first half of this course and why? Right? So self-assessment is a huge professional skill. You have to be able to honestly reflect on your work and the work of others, and just be really like honest and accurate and neutral, right? So, right, why that grade, right? So just give reasons, right? You have to give reasons to justify your choices, right? And show your learning, right, as reasons for justification. Okay, so that is the mid-grade self-assessment. And again, we'll do another one of these at the end of the quarter, right? So I'll look at this one now, and I'll just sort of like compare it to what your Canvas grade is, right? You have a traditional grade on Canvas, okay? So you all can see that. And what I'll do is I'll be like, okay, that's pretty close to Canvas, great, great, great. Or if it's, let's say it's lower or higher than your traditional Canvas grade, I'll read your letter, and if you show me evidence of your learning, right, you know best, right? It's that simple. I've had students before, their traditional grade was lower or higher, and their letter convinced me that they learned something I didn't know about, right? One student told me how hard it was to find credible, reliable, authoritative sources. That was a huge learning skill for them, right? That was a big evolution. And they spent a lot of time on that. And I didn't see that labor. I didn't know that journey, right? That educational journey. So they just talked about that in their letter, showed me, sort of what sources they chose, like random internet sources at the beginning of the class and more professional sources at the end, to showcase their learning. And I was like, yep, absolutely. You learned a lot about sources. So that's what these letters can look like, right? So, really take, at least 10 minutes to reflect on, well, what did I learn so far? And what can I show? Okay, so that's the midterm grade self-assessment. And then we've got, we have a reading on how to write a title and Works Cited. Watch this video on Works Cited. It just walks you through going on MyBib or EasyBib and use, basically it's the calculator of citations, right? So the last page of your essay, it should be a piece of cake. It's like using a calculator. Just plug in the information at once. With EasyBib and MyBib, right, you have to tell it, right, certain things, right? Are you using APA? Are you using MLA? You got to tell it that. Is this a book that you used? Is this an article? Is it a newspaper? Is it a song? Right? Is it an audio record? Right? You have to just tell it what the source is. So there is certain things that it needs to know from you, right? So all of us we're quoting a song. So you need to, when you're citing the song, you need to plug in, right, this is a song, right? So that's, right, watch that video. And with the citing sources, right, again, I just want to make a plug for, why not try APA if you haven't used APA? The sources that we've read are, they're psychology, sociology, anthropology based. So that's basically what APA is the social sciences. So APA is really something that APA uses a lot of in every citation is the date, right? So if you noticed, in 2008, Coach wrote. So there's a lot of ways, there's a lot of models here for how you can sort of use APA and formats here, right? But you do the last name of the person or the persons who wrote the article. Then you give the date. And then you use a verb like argues that, or claims, or believes, or shows, or proves, right? Coach 2008 proves that. Or data shows that, right? Give the quote or give the summary, and then Coach 2008, right? So you need that, the name or the author, and then the date, right? Those are the two most important things in APA. And again, you have some great sort of demos here on, well, this is how MLA does it. This is how APA does it. This is how Chicago does it. So yeah, take a look at that. And if you are doing a direct quote, you do need the page number for APA as well, right? So last name, date, and then what page did you find that on? And you can also put that all together. Coach 2008, page 42, right? Or you can break it up, right? According to Coach 2008, they state that, give the quote, and then I found that on page 42, right? So however you want to put all that information together or separate it, right? We just need, we need the last name of the author, the date, and then the page number. Okay, so you have some great examples of that. And then lastly, I just want to do a little song and dance about having a title for this paper. So the title is the first thing your readers see. You want to hook your audience with the title, right? It sort of has it's a weighty part of the paper, right? It is the first thing audiences see, so you want to get their attention. And I'll show you in a second, right? Your title should have two things. But in general, right, what's the purpose of a title? It's to catch the reader's interest and attention. It's to also reflect the tone of your piece, right? It should contain the key words of your topic. Folks, your paper isn't a mystery, right? Don't feel like, oh, if I tell my readers what my paper is about in my title, they won't want to read it. Like, I have to get over that. I've heard that before, right? We should know what your paper is based on the title, right? That's the key words of the title, right? Music therapy is a key word, right? Mental health is a key word. Blues is a key word. Grunge is a key word. Does that make sense? So we should know what your paper is about, right? Using Logic's lyrics to bring mental health awareness, right? Those are all key words. That's a keyword title. Okay. And right, we don't want to title this like, paper 2, right? Or essay 2. So please don't do that to me, right? Don't do that to your readers. We'll look at some creative ways in a second, right? So your paper should have a hook and some key terms, right? So when I'm thinking of a hook, it's the creative part of your title, okay? It can be a question, such as, can bluegrass be used for music therapy? Can heavy metal, can new age, can world sounds be used for music therapy, right? And your audience is like, oh yeah, that's a really interesting question, can it? And then your paper goes on to answer that question. So I'm a big proponent, I'm really in favor of, just, you can ask a question. Your title can be a question. So, right, why not? Or, right, you can use some interesting language, right? There's a lot of interesting language in the music that you're looking at, right? Let's say you're looking at Cardi B, or let's say you're looking at Enya, right? Whatever artist you're looking at for music therapy, look at their lyrics, right? That could be the first part of your title, is just quote from their songs, right? So here's an example. I could quote like a Logic lyric and then give my keywords, right? So I could be, in quote, I've been on the low, right? That's his line about depression and mental health. I've been on the low, in quotes. And then I give my key terms, right? I've been on the low, colon, mental health awareness in Logic, right? There's my title, right? And hopefully that I've been on the low language, that hook will draw my readers in. And then the key terms shows my reader, okay, this paper is about using Logic, the artist to in a music therapy setting, right? I understand what this argument is, and I get the tone of it too. It's going to use some interesting language from the songs, right? So your title should do something like that. Or again, ask a question, or use a hook from the artists, right? Why not? Okay, so that is this week's, folks. If you have any questions, email me. I'm always available to Zoom. Just let me know. Thank you, folks. I will see you at the next video. Thank you.
What did you say? Hello? What did you say?